Hi, Joggies, it's Mr. K again. Today we are talking about geographical techniques. Okay, these are very important techniques and these are your AO2 questions as well. So this is actually a snip from the syllabus document 2279, 2260. They are the same. Okay, you can see some of these things you have already been doing, be it your papers, be it your daily classroom practices. Okay, I'll be going through with you briefly on these pointers. Okay, I will not be going through point number 3. Okay, I will not be going through this and I will not be going through how to plot a scatter line or bar graphs. I thought that is pretty simple. Alright, so let us get on with it. Okay, first is the measures of central tendency. In your geography in everyday life cluster, you have three ways to do that. And firstly, that is mean. Alright, for mean, uh, it is the sum of all the values in the data set and divided by the number of values in the data set. Okay, this one should be pretty straightforward how you find the mean. Okay, so for each of these methods of measurements of central tendency, there will always be advantages or disadvantages. So do look at your book, okay, your guidebook, and look at page 57 to 58. On those pages, you'll be able to see the advantages of using mean, the disadvantage of using mean. All right, so for medium, okay, it is the middle value for a set of data that has been arranged in ascending order. So firstly, as the investigator, you will need to arrange your data in ascending order before you find the middle value for that set of data. So you can, for example, here is the medium age. Okay, so you arrange all your data. For example, you have 100 people, you arrange them in ascending order in terms of age, and then you find the middle point. That will be your medium. Okay, so next, we're talking about mode. Okay, mode, it is the most frequent value in a data set. Okay, and um, yeah, this is pretty straightforward. There is no need to arrange them. You just need to find the data that happens the most frequent. Okay, next, we'll be looking at describing trends, patterns, and relationships. Okay, I've talked about this in my AO2 video as well, so you can look at it. Okay, but over here, I just want to highlight, okay, some important points when you're describing a trend. Okay, these are the four types of trend that you can see over here. It could be increasing trend, okay, which showcase an overall consistent increase in values. It could be decreasing trend, okay, and then fluctuating trend, and last but not least, a stagnant trend. Okay, something when the values remain stagnant, when the values remain the same. So you can see in this sample over here, okay, this is actually the T that we're talking about in the TSA formula. This is a T that we're talking about. Okay, so in the trend, what do you need to have? Firstly, always look at the dates from 1970 to 2020. Follow the question requirement, and after which, okay, talk about the trend. Has the trend increased? Has the trend decreased? Is the trend fluctuating, or is the trend stagnant? And then after which you give me your evidence to support your trend. All right. So this is pretty straightforward. Next, we're gonna look at patterns. Patterns is a bit I won't say it is difficult, but you need to get used to the idea of describing patterns. Okay, patterns, we are looking at different kinds of patterns. Okay, in your geography, in everyday life, okay, patterns are used in describing, there are spatial patterns. Okay, spatial patterns is part of the big idea of patterns. So for patterns, it can be spatial pattern. Okay, pardon my writing, I'm writing on a laptop. Okay, so there will be spatial patterns. Spatial patterns are patterns found on a map, right? There are other types of patterns that can be found on graphs, data, so on and so forth, and that will actually mean you may have to look at it in a different perspective. Okay, I'll just go through some ways, okay, to look at patterns. First of all, it can be seasonal. All right, in tourism, we learn about there are seasonal employment, right? That data for tourism could then show there are actually seasonal in tourism arrival as well, tourism employment, okay, and sometimes it could be seasonal in terms of physical geography as well. You can see in this climograph over here, what is the pattern? Actually, these high rainfall represents the monsoon season. So there's also a seasonal pattern, right? And then after which there is this thing called this cyclical pattern. Do not be alarmed by the wording. Okay, cyclical means cycle, right? If you look at the second graph over here, you can see that these are the global uh, mean temperature. You can see that there's actually a very clear cycle. Okay, what there's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? So these are cycles. Okay, even in next time if you were to study finance, right, you'll be able to see actually there's always what they call it a 10-year cycle when the economy will go up and then comes down. So there's cycle pattern. All right. Next, we talk about random or irregular patterns. So do not be worried if the pattern, there's not much pattern or it's a random pattern, right? It basically means that there's no pattern. There's no need to always find pattern. Okay, that's why I put it there. All right, for clusters, when we talk about how certain graphs or maps they like how a town is being arranged, they are clustered together, but they're supplied with amenities, facilities, okay, and that's where we talk about spatial associations as well. All right. Next, we talk about geometry and shapes. Okay, these are also parts of pattern. You can see over here the circle line. The geometry is actually a circle. So you can see that over here, that's how we describe the circle line as a circle pattern, right? Circular pattern. Or there can be shapes. It can be on a line. It can be a triangle, so on and so forth. And last but not least, don't forget your pattern. There is a general pattern always. There will always, or rather there will sometimes be outliers, okay, anomaly, okay, that happens going against your general trend or pattern. Okay, right. Last but not least, let's look at relationships. Okay, relationships, we are talking about two variables most of the time. Okay, and the relationship, there can only be three types of relationship I mentioned in my last previous video. Okay, positive, negative, and no relationships. Okay, positive, what does that mean? It means that both variables increase together. So it could, an example would be when temperature goes up, the the when CO2 goes up, temperature goes up as well. Okay, that could be one positive relationship. Therefore, we need to reduce the amount of CO2 in the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere to decrease, to maintain our temperature. Okay, negative relationship is when one variable increase, the other decrease. Okay, so that is a very good sample over here in this sample. Okay, you realize that the blue, the different variables are household size and number of households. So as the number of household increase, okay, household size decrease. What does that exactly mean? Okay, it means that they have a negative relationship. When one decrease, okay, when one decrease, the other increase. So you need to show me your evidences as well, right? So these are the different ways you can do it. You can describe it. Okay, there is also no relationship. That means it could be something like this. Um, just no relationship, right? Or no, this is there's just no. relationship. Okay, maybe the no relationship can be shown in a scatter graph. For example, it could be like this. Okay, all over the place. There is no relationship at all. There's no clear pattern. So that is fine as well. Okay? Yep. All right. So next, we're going to look at sketches. Okay, sketches, while they are not very common questions, there were questions in your sample papers for 2279. Okay? How do you get this question? You go to SEAB website because this is a new syllabus. You can actually download all the sample papers for Geography 2260 and 2279. Please download them and have a go at those sample papers. I'm pretty sure your teachers have actually given that to you. Okay, next we look at this question over here. It is the question will typically give you a very nice photo and they will expect you, okay, to sketch and then annotate. That's usually the combination. Okay, you are supposed to sketch first and then annotate. Okay, so everyone please take note. Over here, the question requirement, okay, is to show the purpose of two features of the green buildings. And you can see over here, this is sample, my students' sample answers. You can see over here, uh, firstly, the sketching, it needs to be close. Okay, the first sample over here is not even close to whatever that's shown, right? The drawing needs to improve. Second, okay, you also need to annotate and try to explain with regards. Okay, so the question was to the purpose of features of the green building. So um, you need to really give your pointers, like for example, the green spaces, okay, the reflective surfaces, so on and so forth, right? So that's for the Singapore cluster. Okay, for the 2260 folks, it's okay. Okay, I'm just giving you an example on that. Okay, next for annotation. All right, for annotation, we are looking at these steps. Okay, make sure you know how to do annotations. Okay, generally, I teach my students try to observe or describe whatever you describe, whatever you observe, you elaborate on it. Of course, this is with regards to the questions. Okay, what is the question? So you can see in the next example over here, a 4 marks question. Okay, you're asked to annotate figure 1 to describe the relationship between people and nature. So you describe, okay, you describe and then you try to explain, right? Describe and explain. Of course, you can do more. All right, you can do more. Okay, the next will be longitude and latitude and foregrip reference. I know this is not indicated in the syllabus, but I'll just like to go through very quickly just in case you never know how the paper would be. Okay, first of all, you need to know latitude and longitude. How do you read them? Okay, latitude are the north and the south, I would say lines. Okay, the longitude in layman term is the east and the west. Okay, if you want to know more about this, you go to Google Earth. The bottom right hand corner of Google Earth, there's actually the longitude and latitude of every location that your pointer points at. Okay, so you can go and try that out. Next, we talk about foregrip reference that you have learned in your lower sec, okay, syllabus. Okay, just do remember it is eastings first and then northings. And how do you, when this square here is actually highlighted, how do you know it is a square? It is the right angle triangle. All right. All right, last but not least for this video, we're going to talk about maps. For maps, there are three things you need to be very about. Compass direction. Okay, make sure you identify the compass direction. Just one thing to note, the compass direction will usually point upwards as north. However, okay, don't be tricked when it points like this. Okay, there are times whereby they point the northwards, towards the right. You just answer accordingly. Next, the map skill. The map skill will show you some form of distance. And last but not least, legends and symbols. Okay, there are many symbols in this map, but there's no legend. It's okay. because some of these are universal, or some of these they try to explain. For example, this, you can clearly know that this is actually an expressway. All right, that's all, folks. Okay, hope to see you in the next video. Bye.